everyone, and welcome to the PNC podcast. My name is Ava, and I have with me Vodima and Max. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to the Premier of South Australia, the Honourable Mr. Peter Mananaskis.
Good morning, Ava. Good morning, Max. Good morning, Vodima.
Thank you so much for coming to visit us. How are you enjoying our school so far?
I'm really enjoying it. It's great to be here at Prospect North Primary School. I've had the opportunity to be around here a few times, so I very much appreciate the welcome.
As students in our school ministries, we are always interested in leadership qualities and which pathways lead to different careers. What led you to your career path and your new job now as Premier?
That's an interesting question. I don't know if there was a specific moment or event that put me on this path, but I think, throughout my time at school, I had the opportunity to participate in a few different leadership roles, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the opportunity to be able to help out others, and that is something that sort of motivated me throughout my life, hopefully in a positive way. And I found myself when I was at work, in my first job working at Woolies, pushing trolleys, that I ended up attaining a few different leadership roles there and representing working people, and that put me on a path to eventually get involved in politics at university and then politics after that. So, but I guess, I've been always enjoyed and been able to garner a degree of satisfaction from the service of others, and this role as Premier certainly provides an opportunity to do that.
What was your first ever job?
Woolies Mitcham.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to go to the Royal Show, and Mum and Dad said, no worries, you can go. I was 15. And they said, you can go, but you got to work out, you got to save up some money to pay. So where you're going to have to get a job. So we went around the area and put my name down at supermarkets and fast food shops and so forth. And Woolies Mitcham called the next day and offered and asked me for an interview, and I got a job, and I started out pushing trolleys. And I really enjoyed it.
What is your advice to us on dealing with negativity directed towards you in your professional life?
Yeah, that's a good question. Sometimes negativity can be constructive criticism. So I think sometimes you got to look at the sincerity of who's offering that point of view. If someone's just being negative for the sake of being negative, I think you can discount it. You sort of ignore it and move on. But sometimes people might offer you critical feedback that you should take on board and listen to and respond to. So I find that sometimes when people are negative for the sake of being negative, it's because they're uninformed or not aware of various details. So you just got to try and take it in your stride and not take it personally, which is really hard sometimes. Like when someone gives you a hard time, it hurts and you feel it a little bit. I'm the same, but you just got to try and be objective and remain balanced and focus on what you want to achieve. But yeah, so not all negativity should be dismissed out of hand. Sometimes you can learn from it.
What do you like to do in your spare time, and how do you maintain a healthy life balance?
This job, it's sort of hard to maintain a work-life balance. It's a bit tricky. I've got children of my own, 3, and we've got one coming in next few weeks, all being well. So it's a bit. This job does make it very hard to get that balance right. But I try and find time where I can, particularly spend time with my children, my family, who I love very much. But what do I like to do when I'm not working? I do enjoy playing sport, but I don't get much time to do that very often. I play footy, Aussie rules, but I'm getting a bit old now and struggling with time. I love to play golf, but I never have time to do that, so that doesn't really happen very often. If I'm at home, I love to muck around in the garden, doing gardening in the backyard and getting my lawn up to gear, so that's always good fun. But if I've got time, the one thing I like to do is more than anything else is just spend time with my family.
What primary school and high school did you attend to, and what subjects do you enjoy the most?
Yeah, good question, Max. So I went to Mercedes College, and I went there from reception through to year 12. What subjects did I like the most? I loved legal studies in high school, where I got to learn about civics and the parliament, the way the law operates, who writes the law, who administers the law. I really enjoyed that. But I also liked economics too, and how our economy functions was something I really enjoyed.
So, did you enjoy school?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did enjoy school. Look, school's tough sometimes. There were moments when, you wish you'd prefer you were on school holidays, but I did enjoy school. I had a good group of friends and good teachers, and that made it all manageable.
Was there a significant adult or teacher who mentored you along the way?
Yeah, that's a good question. I had a few. I'd say there were a few teachers that stood out to me, and it's I had a teacher who did history and English called Mr. Noon, who was a great source of advice. My legal study teacher was Mr. Pickburn, and he was a good man, and he sort of had an influence on me. But in terms of, so they definitely had a really positive impact on my life, but my grandparents, outside of my mum and dad, of course, my grandparents also had a big impact on me.
At our school, we learn through personal investigations, inquiry and embedded STEM practices. How important do you think STEM skills and innovation are for our schools and for our future?
Critical. So you said STEM, right?
Yeah.
It's critical. So there is so much opportunity in South Australia, huge volumes of opportunity, and much of them are going to require more people to be educated in STEM. So if young people choose to go down that path, and it's not for everybody, but if young people choose to go down that path, then they will acquire skills that give them a very good chance of having a really good job and a really high quality life. But also, critically, it sets our state up for the future. So it's really important and something I actively encourage.
I wanted to talk about AFL's Gather Round. This was such a success for South Australia, and you were the driving force behind it. How did you manage to secure it for another year, and why is it so important for South Australia?
Look, people ask me about this a lot. I remember I was at home and I got a file. Like, on the weekend, you've got to go through files, right? And a file came up that said that this was a potential possibility that the AFL were going to have all the games in one place on the same time. I thought that strikes me as unique. Then I found out they wanted to give it to Sydney, and I thought, well, we're going to have to do something about that. We don't want it in Sydney. We're going to have it in Adelaide. So I hit the phones and I put a bit of work in, and we were able to secure it, which is great. And then it was such a success last year that I did a deal with the AFL to lock it in for 3 years, because I figured you got to strike while the iron's hot, and you don't want them taking it away from us. So, and it went really well. And but why does it matter? It's not just about having a good time, and it's not just about the footy. It's an opportunity for South Australia to showcase itself to the rest of the country, which is what we did really well last year, and we've got an opportunity to do again for the next 3 years. It's, South Australia is not the biggest state. Adelaide's not the biggest city, but this gives us an opportunity to put a spotlight on the work that we're doing, and I think that's exciting.
Is there any final advice about learning you would give to young people in the primary education today?
Enjoy it. I know that sometimes schoolwork and homework is hard and might even feel boring on occasions and challenging, but it's worth it. So just try and enjoy it. Like, learning is one of the great privileges of life, and you guys go to a really good school and a great community. And so just try and soak it up and enjoy it as much as you can. That'd be my advice. God, I feel old when I say this, but being young is really exciting time in your life. So you've got high school next year.
Yeah.
Do you know where you're going?
Adelaide High.
Good boy. So, you're going to a good school. It's an exciting time in your life. It might be a bit daunting when you change. How many years have you gone to Prospect for?
I've been here for 7 years.
7 years. So it'll be a bit of a change.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah. But that's exciting. And you'll get a few butterflies in your tummy on your first day to school and all that. And you're going to year 7 next year. But just try and soak it up and enjoy it and make the most of it.
Yeah.
What footy team do you support and why?
What footy team do you support?
Port Power.
Ah, high five. I'm a Port supporter. How about you guys, Ava? Who do you go for?
Probably Crows.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm a Crows fan as well.
Oh, goodness. Well, 2-on-2. I'm a Port supporter. My dad I grew up. My dad was a Port Magpie supporter. Now he barracks the Crows. That's a long story, but so I grew up in a barrack from a Port, and I love Port Adelaide Footy Club, and we didn't quite go as well this year as I hoped, but nor did the Crows go very well. So who knows next year
What was the best advice you were ever given?
that I could ever give.
That you were ever given?
Oh, given. Sorry. Take all your opportunities. My grandfather was very adamant about taking your opportunities. So if you get an opportunity, grab it. Don't let it go. So, and I think if opportunities come your way, try and make the most of it. And you don't want to live in regret that you didn't seize the moment or seize the chance. So that's what we try and do.
Do you have any questions for us?
What's your favourite subject?
I'd say history.
History? Good. That's important.
Probably say art. I've always liked art. That's a
Art?
subject.
What sort of art do you like?
Mainly like paintings. I
Painting?
really like to experiment with different kinds of paintings. So yeah,
That's
I'd
good.
say that.
Yeah, good.
I also quite like history.
History as well? Okay, good. Well, history is important because it tells us where we came from. And that doesn't necessarily tell us about what happens in the future, but we can learn lessons from the past. And that's invaluable, particularly in this day and age. And in terms of art, well, art is sort of in many ways the fabric. You know, art is an expression of humanity. Art is an expression of oneself. And sometimes art doesn't get recognised in the way that it should. So painting is an ability to tell stories and provide a context for humanity that is invaluable, particularly in a day and age where sometimes things aren't going so right in the world. So that they're important subjects. Good work.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, Premier Melanaskis. PNC podcast out.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Good luck.